Buenos días, bienvenidos a todos. Yo soy muy feliz de estar aquí, honrado. I hope you enjoy la charla, and that's all I will give you of my Portuñol for now. I will spare the pain, but we can talk later if you are interested in chatting or getting to know more about things and whatnot. So, first, I would like to know more about you, because ultimately that's what it's all about. It's not about us speakers. It's not about a lot of the technical side of it. I really believe conferences are made for us to connect, to make new friends, to learn about technology, and it's most of it's about people. So, how many of you here have used Python for more than 10 years? Okay. 7-ish, 8? Well, if we keep going, we can reach 20. Okay. So about 20. How about more than 4 years? Nice. Great. How about 1 year? Noobs. Nice. And you should be proud. Actually, I will say you are one of the most important users that we have in the Python community, because we want to help you learn. We want to make tools that are accessible to people that don't have a lot of years of experience, etc. So if you have feedback, you want to talk, reach out to everyone else and tell your experience. How many here are using Python for data science? All right. About a third, maybe half. And how many here use Python in education? All right, I was afraid nobody's going to. Perfect, it's about 10 people. Like, we need to have a goal for the next conference to be half of the audience, to be people that are teaching with Python. Because ultimately that's what's going to bring the future of Python and technology and whatnot. So, warning, this talk is very hacky and we'll have a lot of demos and a lot of bugs. So if anything breaks, it's just to show that we are all humans, and and I write more bugs than the features themselves usually. So a little bit about me, trying to go very fast. As Carlos mentioned, I was born in Brazil. From a big Italian family, moved to Italy when I was 16, and then I moved to US 8 years ago. So if you speak any of those languages or Portuñol, come speak to me later as well. I created PyScript last year. And to be fair, I am the creator of PyScript, and Peter Wang, who's Anaconda CEO, is probably the ideator of PyScript. It came from a lot of ideas that we had together, but I would say the seed is definitely with him. I'm a fellow member of the EuroPython Society, blah, blah, blah. All of this just to mainly say that I'm really passionate about community. I'm really passionate about people and creating opportunities for everyone to express themselves, to learn technology, to learn about the world. And to me, that's most of what Python and the Python community is all about. And we'll talk about that a little. I also didn't mention here, but I also took part of a bunch of other open source projects. So it's been a long time since I've been in the community. Oh, wrong button. I'm really excited to be here. Python Colombia is my first South American conference, which is very close to my heart. I'm so excited to connect with all of you. So don't be shy, let's talk more later. So when Sebastian reached out asking for a keynote, I was really torn, what should we talk about? You're probably expecting to talk about PyScript, etc., but I really want to talk about people and Python and technology. Sorry, Sebastian, don't freak out. I will talk about PyScript. Don't panic. But I think those things are really important because, well, we'll see in the talk. One thing I want to show is that we really live in interesting times. I think no time in history unless it was documented and was before human artifacts were created, etc. Nowhere in history we have such a fast pace in innovation. If you think about it, only 100 years ago we started having electric power, a radio, things that you take for granted today. And if you look at those curves, okay, I don't see it. Look at those curves. Usually it takes a long time, decades, for technology to be adopted. But today, most of the things that come out 1 year, after 2, 3 years, 4 years, they reach more than a 50% adoption or things like this. And especially, a lot of the new technology is a little different than in the past. It integrates very close to humans. It integrates very close to our experience, of our perception of the world. We look at things now through cameras and less in real time. We communicate through mediums, not directly. All of those things are really, they change the way we communicate with each other. Wrong button again. So, and that's old technology. How about the new things that we develop each and every day? Like now I have a bunch of stats and things like this that I will glance over real fast. But most of the stats shows that the adoption is very fast. And a lot of people spend a lot of time on devices and whatnot. And like average more than 60% of population uses social media. And you know, I'm not even sure. I question the stats about only 2.5 hours a day. For sure my wife would be like, oh, you take ages in the bathroom with your phone and stuff like this. Way more than 2 hours. So, and that's very common. You know, we don't realize how much time we spend on those things. And that goes for all ages, to be honest. I don't know about your parents, but my mom spends an awful amount of time playing Facebook games, you know. And teenagers spend way more. And if you think about it, they're growing with that technology. It's printed in their social behavior. And just real quick, people spend almost a full day on YouTube over a month. Or, I don't know why they put those wrong colors. This is Telegram. I was expecting to be blue. And I'm really confused. Like Twitter, red. It's so weird. But anyway, this is to show we spend a lot of time on those devices. And it's really not a one country. It's not a US only or Europe or South America. It's all over the place. And in fact, I can say I'm very proud to say that Brazil and Colombia are very high in the number of social platforms that we use, right? And it's also female and male. I wish there was more diversity in those stats, but overall, it's not a gender thing. We all spend a lot of time on this. And what is the problem with that? Well, technology is not a good or bad per se, right? It's in how we adopt it, how we make it part of our lives, how we use it, and whatnot. But we need to acknowledge that we're kind of becoming cyborgs. And we hear projects of having implants in your brain, or have devices that are injected in the skin and whatnot to measure in real time things like glycemic levels on blood, or hypertension and things like this, right? But this is a very ideal image. We are more like this type of cyborgs, right? And we need to grow. We need to adopt technology in a way that makes part of us and make us better. So, to back my point here, cyborg is a bionic human. A bionic human is having a normal biologic capability or performance enhanced by, or as if by, electromechanical devices. We're getting there. And the good aspects of all that technology today is that actually, if you compare to the medieval ages when I grew up in the 80s, where you had to go to somewhere to get access to encyclopedia or to technology, or you had to go to your friend's house to access a computer and everything. Today is really easy to just Google something, or to go on Wikipedia or any other resource source that you want to get information from. We have 100 tools that make us way more performant and more productive. You know, we can reach out to other people on the internet. We can post videos. We can have chats and whatnot. We can reach out to friends that we made at a conference and they live on the other side of the world. It's very exciting. And not to mention AI. I'll just briefly mention it because it's so far beyond that it would require hours to talk as well. But we need to think about the long-term social effects of this. How are we evolving as a species? How does that help us? Or is it getting in the way, right? And we don't want to get into this situation, right? We want to make sure that we are always evolving for the best. And as we grow as a human species, our tools grow. And as humans, we've always been looking for innovation. We've always been looking for making things more effective. I don't want to go hunting or gathering every day, so I'll build a farm, or I will make access to rivers, or we want to grow plants and whatnot. And it's just part of human nature. But not everything is good. Not everything is being used for good right now, right? It's really hard today to fact check things that your mom goes and tells you, oh, I saw on Facebook that this person is doing that, and without fact checking anyway. And it's hard, especially for older generations. Like even for us, sometimes it's really hard to say, is this source trustful? Is this data correct? How was this data not biased? All data is biased by design. How are these data scientists parsing those data sets to make it the most unopinionated type of information as possible? Social media algorithms are not your friend usually. They look into hooking you into the platform. Doesn't matter the content. Doesn't matter if it's going to be harmful to you or society, etc., etc. So ethics in technology is extremely important. And I really want you to go out of here thinking about this. Not to talk about AI or AGI, etc., right? The amount of things that we can do today are, sometimes it's even hard to tell, is that a bot or is that a human? And it's gonna get way out of imagination really fast. So we opened the Pandora box. Now what do we do with it? Well, I think as a Python community, a technical community, we need to pay attention to this. We actually are behind all of this. Python is the most popular language in the world, and it's been that way since a few years ago. It used to be this weird niche language. And if you look at the evolution from early 2000s to today, we made a lot of progress. Python helped land the rover on Mars, or all the things that you see with AI, that's Python powered. All social media, all social platforms, the major big tech companies, they all use Python all over the place. So what can we do about it? And I think we have a duty to do something about it. First of all, I want to split this in two main convos, two main things that we can do. The first one, is to acknowledge that people are greater than technology. Technology is useless without your users. You being your own users, everyone else that you want to reach out being your users, that's what you should be caring about. The other day I was listening to Lex Fridman podcast, and he was interviewing John Carmack. How many here know who John Carmack is? Awesome. Not very much, not many. John Carmack is an iconic figure in computer science. He was originally a game developer and now recently joined, I think he just left Facebook on the Meta, on the whole Meta thing, etc. But his point is, and I agree very much, Lex asked him, what makes a good developer? His answer was pretty much caring about user value. It was totally focused on user and providing value to your users. Not at all about technology, not about making the fastest algorithm ever, not about making the most efficient algorithm ever. And I totally agree with this. Technology for the sake of it is useless. It gives a lot of self-esteem, it gives a lot of pride, but just for the sake of it, it's useless. You can make the most powerful and most fast algorithm to sort something, but if it's not helping anyone else, or if it's extremely hard to use as an API and whatnot, that's that useless technology. And I think we should start from our community. Honestly, I think we're very, very lucky in the Python community because we have a strong and a very human community. How many here heard this sentence before? Came for the language, stay for the community. Awesome. Not as many. So that's good. Now you can say you heard it. And it's very true. A lot of people here came for the language because it's a great language, but reached out to conferences, to the community and whatnot, and felt part of it, and felt like I can have a voice. I can make friends, and what I say matters. And I think it's extremely powerful. A lot of the traits that make the Python community amazing are things like promoting diversity and equality, being very inclusive, advocating for simplicity and accessibility. You know, it's extremely important for us to understand that it's not all about technology. We need people that actually don't know a lot of computer science. We need people that have more humanistic power tools, or it's in their wheelhouse, because they can help us communicate better with our users, write better documents, translate to other languages. So if you are just starting and you feel like you have those type of capabilities and features, reach out to projects that you like and help. You know, we are built around a community that have a lot of inspiring, kind, and talented people, role models that we can look up to and learn. We celebrate intellectual excellence, which is extremely rare today. And I'll talk more about this. And we usually come with a high standards of quality. The more a project is adopted, the more people expect it to come with really high quality documents, really high quality tests, really high quality performance, and things like this. That is not equal to the trends we have in mainstream media or society today. We often celebrate things that amuse you or things that hook you to your attention. We don't celebrate intellect or achievements, intellectual achievements that much anymore. How many scientists or doctors or teachers or engineers or computer scientists have you seen on the cover of Time magazine or a newspaper or a movie about them or things like this? Not that many. Wouldn't it be cool? The fastest web framework alive. I would love to see Sebastian alongside with Vin Diesel and The Rock. It would be super cool. Hacking on the back of a GT or a BMW. But anyway, seriously, those things matter. Because the next generations are watching those movies. We're reading those papers. We're reading those magazines and whatnot. And if we get used to a culture of mediocrity, we celebrate mediocre things. Things just make you amuse or have a laugh and then that's it. We're not making progress, and we are leaving space for big companies or malicious people, etc., to take more of the space of our attention, and that's important. I stand by Brett's statement. I too came for the language and stayed for the community. I remember my first and my second conferences in 2003 and 2004, actually 2004 and 2005, where I met extremely talented people that I loved the work and I was so inspired. And meeting Guido or meeting Alex Martelli or Brad Cannon or Peter Wang or Travis Lowenfant, it was amazing. And what was amazing is that those people were so kind and so accessible and so down to earth. They stop to talk with you, they inspire you, etc. And that is a nice thing to spread out, right? And I think the community at large kept that spirit of camaraderie and openness, and we need to maintain it. Too many inspired me, really, too many to speak. From Katrina Real and all the folks that are working really hard at NumFocus, to all the speakers here, Deb, Catherine, Lucas, to Brad Cannon, to I would be here 1 hour to speaking about them. But I also want to take this opportunity today, actually, to do one thing that I've never done, and I think we should do more as well. I want to celebrate a few people that left a really strong mark in my life during my time at the Python community. John Pinner, who was one of the main organizers of Pycon UK, one of the most kind souls I ever met. Really an extremely kind person that I had the pleasure to meet as a friend, who passed a few years ago. Oyer, who was a really great partner at all the EuroPython conferences in Spain. He was head of the Pycon San Sebastian Society, extremely talented and kind person who made a difference for a lot of the community in Spain, who also passed recently. And Ray, who used to work with me, who made a lot of extremely good work on Conda and C-level things and low-level things with Python, who was extremely kind as well, and never made me feel dumb for asking stupid questions where I don't understand anything about really low-level, obscure technology. And he always made me feel like really, that's just part of it. And I could ask any questions without being embarrassed. So those are the type of people that I really think and inspire me every day when I come talk with the community or whatnot. And it's extremely powerful. Taking that aside, to the second side, what can we do other than working with people and making us understand that the ethics of technology are really important? Well, we should get involved and build technology that really matters. Matters to you, matters to the people that you care for, and matters for society at all, in general. Yes, that's the part I'm going to talk about PyScript. So get ready. Because I may be wrong, but I think that's the vision, really, to bring some technology that is meaningful to people. Python is amazing. It's an extremely powerful and accessible language, but it doesn't really have a great story on mobile. How many here think that you can write a Python program and deploy on mobile in a day? 1, 2, 3. In a week. Awesome. About 10 people. In a month. All right. So actually in my backpack I have a few cool stickers, PyScript stickers. So my challenge is going to be this. If you write a Python application and deploy it on the browser and show me or tweet about it and tag me on the tweet, etc., you get a sticker pack by the end of the day. My goal is that by the end of the day, everyone here can write a Python application and deploy on mobile in less than 5 minutes. What about the browser? How many people here think that you can write a Python application and deploy on the browser in a day? Okay. Without writing JavaScript. All right. Without a server that is actually serving logic. All right. One, Catherine, it's so little, the data set is so little that I cannot call you by name, right? And we went from 10 to 5 to 1. That's the type of thing that we need to think about. And why? Oh, also, because in general, not only on mobile or browser, distributing Python applications is hard. Back in the day when I was young, you could build an exe or a file, etc., and just deploy on your laptop and send to someone else. Today is really hard. We made applications architecture really hard. Python is great, it's dynamic, etc., but it also means when you deploy something, the other person needs to install Python most times, right? You can use other things like PyInstaller, Py.exe, or bundle your application, that's fine, but it requires a lot of work. It's a higher learning curve. And managing the environments. If you develop on Linux and then deploy on Windows or Mac, it's a pain. There's a really great keynote from Russell Keith McGee at Pycon US, I think it was 2019, that is very inspiring, that talk about this. About what he calls the black swan, which is basically the message is that if we're not thinking far ahead, in 10 years from now, and 20 years from now, the technology advances and Python may not be relevant anymore, which would be a shame, because not because of the sake of the language, but because it's a language with a soul. It's a language that is made to be accessible by people, and we have an opportunity to keep it going. So I highly recommend checking that out. And that's where PyScript comes in, right? PyScript allows you to write applications on the browser, etc. And by the way, this talk actually is a PyScript application running on the browser. It's using Reveal.js as presentation technology, mostly because my colleagues convinced me. But my talk, which was similar to this one, but this one is better. I made it better for you guys. But that was made entirely with PyScript, without Reveal or any JavaScript library, other than like highlighting things and whatnot. And this is actually the PyScript page that I'm looking at, and I can look at examples and run them right here, etc., etc. If I click here, I can actually go and check Python applications running on the browser in real time. Right, so let me go back real quick. All right. So what is PyScript? PyScript is, to make it short, it's Python on the browser, and like literally Python running on the browser. You don't need a server, you don't need a laptop or anything. Well, you need something to access your browser. It also is not just a Python syntax on the browser. It allows you to actually run a Python interpreter on the browser with access to a large subset of the Python ecosystem. From all the libraries, pure Python libraries that you have on PyPI, to a bunch of data science applications that you have on that C dependencies and whatnot that most people are using for data science in general. And all you need is just there on the browser. It's also a platform. How many here, if I tell you what's the difference of platform versus framework, who wants to give a try at answering that question? Okay, I'll tell you my interpretation. A platform is a piece of technology that allows you to run to the build. Actually, I will start with a framework, sorry. A framework is a piece of technology that allows you to write applications on top of that technology, right? A platform is a piece of software that allows you to build frameworks on top of that technology. So, hence, you can also write applications. And we'll see more about this later. PyScript is also a platform that is extensible via plugins, and you can use, actually, you can write plugins both in JavaScript or in Python. It also allows you to interact with the browser and JavaScript. Within your Python application, you can actually access JavaScript libraries or the DOM or other things in your browser. How do I start with PyScript? It's very simple. You just import it. You just define the script, just define the script that needs to be loaded on the page, and there you go. So those are different versions of PyScript. This is the first, not the first one, but the second official one. And then the previous one, we have the one that is in RC right now that we're releasing, I think, either today or Monday. That comes with a lot of new improvements, etc. But I'll talk more about this. So let's try it out. I can come here, and right there, with a little help that we will take a look later, I have a Python application in the browser. It's there, hello world. I can deploy it. Actually, it's already deployed. So if I look at how it looks being deployed itself, there you have it. 10 seconds. Let's take a look at at the internals of a PyScript application. So it happens inside the browser. The language that the browser speaks is HTML. So we do need to have an HTML template to host our Python application. And it has the usual HTML things. You define your head, your document, blah, blah, blah. And the important things are this too, importing PyScript. And then the way you configure it is by defining a tag called pyconfig that allows you to define things like what packages and dependencies do you have, if you want to load any files, if you want to store variables in there, if you want to change the version of the Python interpreter you're using, etc., etc. So actually, I failed to mention, but PyScript by default comes with Pyodide, which is the Python interpreter that allows all of this. Right? PyScript itself is not a Python interpreter. It's a platform on top of Python interpreters. And then once you have that configuration, which by the way can be empty. In fact, this configuration is empty. I don't need anything else other than Python standard library. And then I can define a PyScript tag and load a file from here, which has my Python code. Or I can actually say, well, I want to write my Python code within the tag here and say, yes, you need some zoom. And here I can do print. And then I can just save. And it gets updated. And it's basically automatically deployed as well. So I can check my application. There you go. That's it. I don't suggest you to do this, to write your Python code within the tag, because it's not great to test. It's not great it doesn't work well with your editors, and it's actually broken, meaning that because of how the web works and the web standards, this tag gets loaded first and then gets parsed by PyScript later. So you may have glitches where you have your Python code and showing the page and then flicker and then show your application. So I always suggest to use the files, but those are details. Let's talk a bit real quick about the tech stack. Basically, PyScript treats the browser as a virtual machine, WASM is your virtual machine, or a virtual CPU. We need something on top of it, and we use mscripten. Actually, all of that is provided by Pyodite, which is an excellent and great project. They wrote a Python interpreter and use mscripten as operating system, developed the Python interpreter on top of it, and PyScript comes on top of that as well. So what can you do with it? Well, you can write something like this, which is not really great, but it's actually a Python script within this presentation that just displays Pycon Colombia. So trust me, this is dynamic. By the way, those slides are going to be published on PyScript.com, and you can check the code as well. So you can not trust me and look at that later. So PyScript also has another component which is called PyREPL that allows you to write Python code live, and it's similar to a code block in a notebook, and I can do things like import a Pycon Colombia. Actually, I'll do it like this. From Pycon Colombia, do import, say hi. Thank you. It's made on purpose. Pycon. I know I'm doing this on purpose to show that it's live. But because it's Python and it's dynamic, I can actually play with HTML or webby things. Like I can import, say hi from Triangolo. And I can show a video.
¿Qué pues, parceros? ¿Cómo vamos? Yo soy Sebastián Ramírez, Triángulo, y espero que le estén pasando muy bueno en Pycon Colombia, más ahora con mi amigo Fabio, que es una de las personas más cool y amigables del mundo de Python, aparte de ser un crack que se inventó nada menos que PyScript. Ojalá que se gocen la conferencia, que aprendan muchas cosas, charlen con gente muy cool y que salgan inspirados a seguir construyendo cosas de Colombia para el mundo. Un abrazo desde Alemania.
There you go. Actually, this is the perfect time to take a selfie. There you go. And not only this, actually I will get some help from one of my colleagues and show you the cool things that you can do with PyScript. And actually, Nicholas is the creator of the Mu editor, the person behind BBC Microbit, has been in the Python community for ages and is an extremely talented and inspiring person as well.
Hi Pycon Colombia, my name's Nicholas and I'm a colleague of Fabio's on the PyScript team. I just wanted to show you that when you have Python running via PyScript in the browser, that means you get Python everywhere that you can get a browser. So, for instance, here it is on a desktop. These are some examples, and I'm going to show you Loosey Goosey. Loosey Goosey uses the browser's underlying API, audio API, to make honking goose sound when you click in the right place. And here it is on a phone. And here it is running on a Tesla. Awesome!
All right, who here thinks that's cool? Nice, finally all hands up. That's cool. All right, so let me try to speed up, and I'll probably take 5 minutes out of the questions, just so heads up. So let me show a few examples of what you can do with PyScript. Some of those are going to load a little slower. Actually, if you're Netflixing or downloading weird things, put a pause on it, please, so that we can have more bandwidth. But this is basically running a scikit-learn model on the browser. And it may seem just like a static image, but it has a lot of very heavy libraries there. It's running a model with NumPy, pandas, etc., on the browser. As you can see, it only took a few seconds to load. Now, it's going to load slower on mobile or tablets or a Tesla, but you can do it, right? This is running a neural network inference with ONNX, the runtime, to guess the characters or the numbers that I'm drawing, right? If I draw this, it thinks it's a 1. If I draw this, it's a 0. Honestly, it doesn't always get it right, but if I do something like this, it's a 4. Or the 9, usually it's, it's hard. You see? Yeah, that's very bad, but anyway. You get the gist of it. It's running a model on the browser to guess what type of digit I'm writing. It can also run fancy and advanced graphics on top of it. This is a little heavy loaded, so it may take a couple of seconds more, but this is basically showing really cool graphics, parsing a data set and allowing to do real-time selection on this very data set, and you can zoom in using panel and bokeh, yada, yada, yada. And all of this is hosted in the browser. There's no server-side logic, there's nothing in there. Right. Another fancy panel example. This one is actually, I used PyScript.com to show you because I want to show the source code as well. And it's not a whole lot to draw the dashboard that I'm going to show you here. Right. Now, you can also parse Excel files in the browser. So you can load up Excel file in there and parse it and show the data without actually having to install Python, having to, run weird things, yada, yada, yada. Damn it, sorry. Okay. I added this slide after Catherine's talk yesterday. You can actually use SQLite in the browser, which is pretty amazing. And there you go, like we're inserting, actually to see the source code, we're inserting some records here and showing them real time. I want to show this Star Wars visualization that shows the connection between all characters doing all movies. This is actually interesting because it's using D3 to display the charts, right? D3 is this amazing JavaScript library that all Python users envy for decades, and now you can use it directly there. All right. It's not only about data. Actually, you can access the browser things. I can access my camera, or geolocation, or other things. And I can start my camera. Oh, I'm in full. Okay, there you go. And I can take a picture. And I can download my picture. And probably I'm going to delete it because it's terrible. But we can also play games. So this is a tic-tac-toe, a game made by one of our teammates, I think. And you can click here, and I win. Great. Well, this is boring. I actually want to have a hipster game. This is using Pixel, which is a game engine written in Python that has a WASM port, and we can use it. And I can All right. Anyway, super loud. But all of those examples actually are hosted on PyScript.com, and I don't know if you see on the bottom of them, there is a small icon there that shows well, this one is not showing, but there's like a view code. You can click on it. You can see the code for all of them. This is actually another cool demo. As you can see, I have a Lego set here. It's not by mistake. The browser in general provides access to your whole machine. That's one of the reasons we felt very safe to use the browser, because it has decades of security thoughts into it. It's a pretty safe and secure virtual machine. But with the right permissions, you can actually access your system. So if I turn this on, you can see, well, not sure if you can see, but it's turning on, has the heart, meaning we're ready. And I have connected this, basically the motor, and I can connect to a laptop with PyScript on. I didn't have to install anything, right? It's just accessing the USB serial port. I can ask the browser, hey, connect to my USB port. And they're like, okay, cool. Which port? This one. It's connected now. So I can actually, from here, send commands to the motor and run the motor. There you go. Thank you. This one, as most of the examples that I'm showing, are not really made by me. This is made by a great friend, Chris, who has a lot of ideas, really cool ideas. So he was also like, why don't I connect my solar panel stats to this and have the motor run at the same speed of my the solar panels energy. So it's going to be super fast, but no, it's actually not. Anyway, I'm out of time to see why it's not working, but it should work, and it spins at the same speed of this curve, making it like an acceleration. It's very geek. Okay. Also, another way you can use PyScript is to change the way you write your docs or your tutorials or your cheat sheets and whatnot. So like this one is a cheat sheet for pandas, and you can learn in real time and say, I want to learn about data frames, and I can merge this and see how the code looks like and the outputs and inputs and whatnot, right? Super powerful. You can teach your users without asking them to install anything or having to pay for other technologies. One thing that I really wanted to show, but I don't have time, I think, is PyPyCard, which is a new framework built on top of PyScript. It allows you to create applications in a super fast way. It's based on the concept of cards, so you can create interfaces as one card at a time and connect those cards or not. This is the repo. One cool thing actually is that because it's PyScript, because it's on the browser, you can also run the test of the library in the browser directly. You don't need to install anything, so it's gonna run PyScript, it's installing PyTest, and etc., and it's running the tests on the browser directly. But actually, that application that Nicholas showed, so I'm not going to show the demos, that application that Nicholas showed on the Tesla and the mobile, those were written with PyPyCard. Highly recommend checking it out. PyScript is only 1 year old. It had a very fast growth. A lot of people were excited. We had a lot of people talking about it on YouTube and Twitter, etc. And TikTok. Actually, that was the day that my daughter came to me and said, Dad, I finally know what you do. You're training on TikTok. I saw a video about PyScript. So, and she actually said, I thought you were all day in meetings having fun and laughing, but you actually do something, which was a great achievement. It's already useful. It's very young, but I suggest you to start using, give us feedback, actually get involved. We are looking for volunteers, we're looking for developers and whatnot. We also started a new initiative called PyScript.com. As you can see, this cool bunny is the mascot of the website. There's another version, which is this one. Which one do you like the most, actually? Hands up for the very nice looking bunny. Ah, damn it. That actually, I need to give credit to the author, Antonio Cuni, who is clearly not an artist. He's a very great Python developer, usually does very low level things, C-level things, and you can tell it from his drawing. I want to show you real quick PyScript.com, which is what I've been using to show the demos and whatnot. This is my dashboard view where I host all my projects, but if I want to start a new project, I can start from here. And actually, it starts as I showed you with Hello World, blah, 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 blah. But one thing that I want to show you is because I'm one of the founders and I support the project, I can have access to an assistant. So I can ask questions. How do I use the pyconfig on my PyScript app? And it will eventually answer. It's learning. So it makes mistakes. This is a kind of a okay question, but sometimes I can ask things like write an application that collects, that displays matplotlib on I don't know. I'm not feeling very creative today, so it's probably a bad question. But overall, 80% of the time, it gives correct answers. So there you go. And you can actually paste those things and write on the browser, blah, blah, blah. But it's free. It will be free forever for most things that you need, or for if you don't need to host extremely heavy files, or if you don't want access to features like this or more advanced features. So go check it out. Actually, if you go to PyScript.com and you start a project and you tweet and show, I will give you stickers. And it's a great way for you to learn Python as well and to store projects and start playing with the project as well. So, as I mentioned, have you noticed the bunny? This is the new Clippy, which is super cool. Okay, it also can't be all rainbows and unicorns. PyScript has limitations. Especially because the browser is not just your normal machine. It doesn't have multi-processes. It doesn't have multi-threads. You cannot make blocking calls like input or breakpoints or debugging and stuff. But good news, we're working on a new branch, and it's going to be super fast. This new branch that is going to probably be released in a month or a couple of months is now unlocked. So a great advice for everyone here: never be too jealous of your code. Never think that your code is you. So we are actually rewriting the very crappy code that I wrote at the beginning of PyScript to allow more powerful things, like allowing PyScript to run on workers. So that will allow blocking calls, that will allow your page to keep going while your code is going, right? And we're working to support other frameworks, other interpreters as well, like MicroPython, which loads 10 to 100 times faster than Pyodide. So if I show you real quick PyScript with Pyodide here, it takes, it's pretty fast because I already loaded before. But if I go check for MicroPython, it's also MicroPython running on the browser. And as you can see, that number there is running on a different thread. So meaning that it's running separately and it's not blocking the code at all. You can also have matplotlib running on a worker, which, as you can see, it's working on a worker while the plot is loading. That's why it's taking some time to load. Your code is already running while your page is loading. But it's not only this. We can also now support other languages like Ruby. So you can, you have Ruby loaded, and I can print the Ruby version is here. So if I click here, I can access the Ruby kernel and print the version. We also have initial support for Lua. And I can do the same thing for Lua. Damn it. All right. And for some reason it's not working. It's experimental. We have async calls, but I want to show the worker, which is one of the most interesting examples. This is actually a page with a MicroPython interpreter, a JavaScript interpreter, a Python interpreter, a Python interpreter, a Lua interpreter, all of them talking to each other via workers and message passing. If I go here and look at the page source, we'll see that actually I have a script that is in JavaScript, another one and that is MicroPython, another one that is also MicroPython, and so on and so forth. I don't know what the other ones are. But anyway, I'm running out of time, so I'm running super fast. I really want to thank the team that's building all of this. It's made by incredible humans. So this is both the team that works on PyScript open source core. In fact, Jeff here is not affiliated with Anaconda at all. He's one of the open source contributors that has been just contributing for the sake of it because he believes in the project, and we are so thankful. And plus Andrea, who just joined the team. And talking about diversity, Andrea is a web developer, extremely talented, not a Python developer. And he's the one that helped us understand the limitations of the Python brain, trying to make things work on the browser, and actually allowed us to do all the PyScript next that I just showed. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the patience. Thank Anaconda for supporting the project and believing in it. I really want to thank Valerio and Sofia, who are DevRels at Anaconda, who helped me a lot with a lot of the examples and the code that I'm showing. I want to thank the Python team, the MicroPython team, people at the CPython has been supporting and believing in WASM, and the WebAssembly community, and many more. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the talk.